We are live here in the back theater, the big theater actually as it is, of the Museum de Arto de Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah,
Beautiful
sounds
place.
about right, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I have with me here Luke Stokes, which after talking to him for just a couple of minutes, I thought, okay, I got another OG here. He knows everybody. He knows everything. We're talking high-level stuff here. So I know you have your FIO protocol, also the media roundtable. Let's talk about whichever one you want to talk about first, and then we'll go from there.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
For sure.
I've been managing director for FIO Protocol for the last 2 years. Actually, this month will be 2 years. And it's basically human readable addresses for all your crypto. My crypto handle is Luke@Stokes. I don't have to remember these big crazy Bitcoin addresses, Ethereum addresses, anything like that. And it's decentralized. You can do encrypted requests for payment with a memo, things like that you can't really do natively. But it works with every single chain, every single token. FIO stands for the Foundation for Interwallet Operability. We really think that usability is important. We've got a billion users coming to crypto in the next 3 to 5 years if you're paying attention, if you've been watching the doublings that have been happening for over a decade now. And a lot of those new users are going to want a usability experience. They want something that's simple, kind of like PayPal, Venmo, something that makes sense, not too confusing, doesn't stress them out, and not going to worry about they send money to the wrong place or the wrong token to the wrong chain to the wrong place.
Yeah.
So we're in like 20, 30 different wallets. Been around for more than a year and a half now. It's doing pretty well.
Nice. Well, it's one of the things I talk about all over the world. My wife, love her to death. She's a wonderful girl. But there's no way in God's name that she's going to send some Bitcoins to some 36-digit address.
Yes.
Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yes.
And that has been a big, I think, impediment to mass adoption. I mean, we'll do it. And, back in the day, like how many times like in the very beginning where you're like, I sent it, I did, and then it didn't show up.
And you're freaking out, you're stressed, your hands are sweaty, you're like, and
right.
Someone teaches you about the mempool, and you're like, what's the mempool? And you go and you're looking for, is it stuck somewhere? And
right.
Oh, so stressful.
And
it shouldn't be that way.
No, it shouldn't be that way. So that is pretty interesting. And you're local here?
Yeah, I've been here actually this month also 3 years.
Wow.
So my wife and 3 kids, been married 17 years, and she's in a similar space where she's like, well, you should do your crypto thing over there.
Yeah,
it seems to pay the bills.
Right.
It's been almost 9 years in this space, and I really enjoy it. It's funny, actually, I was also part of the Steemit community, which is now the Hive community.
Yeah.
I was part of that whole craziness as that blockchain got attacked, civil attack, basically.
Crazy.
But I can remember when she first started blogging there, it was the one thing that she could do because that had a human readable address.
Right.
The Hive accounts are human. I'm Luke Stokes at Hive, the same kind of thing. And she was blogging there, earning crypto. And I showed her how to do GYFT back then, where you could still do that and get an Amazon gift card. And then she bought a camera lens. And she's like, wait, okay, this crypto thing you do that's weird over here, I have a camera lens. Like,
right.
Okay, it's real. Like, this makes sense now. And so from that moment on,
Neverland money. This is actually something.
It's real. I've always been excited about just the payment space. I ran an e-commerce company for about 10 years called FoxyCart. And when I was thinking about the payment space and thinking about cryptocurrencies, the future for this, we figured out there's like a Bitcoin wiki entry for FoxyCart where in 2013, we're getting people to integrate with us to be able to actually use it as a currency. And I quickly learned that's just too confusing, too frustrating. It would cause cart abandonment, and people are like, what's this Bitcoin thing? I don't understand. And so it's been a long journey trying to making this easier. And the group that was working on this initially approached me. And I started as a part-time consultant and eventually became the managing director. We got a whole team. It's a decentralized autonomous consortia, runs with worker proposals, all transparent. It's a pretty incredible community.
Well, it's a good stuff. And, a testament to your personality and everything as well. Because obviously we just met out there and, we were able to connect. So amazing work that you're doing here. And are they based here? Or
and what's the nice thing about being a decentralized autonomous consortium, we're all over the place. So we have people, one of the core teams that kind of originally started working on the protocol development is in Denver, Colorado, but we have team members all over the world, everyone with an active worker proposal. There's definitely people here in Puerto Rico that are excited about it. A lot of my friends are trying to support us and get us into more wallets and more exchanges. It's kind of a network effect challenge.
Right.
It's like a chicken and egg situation. It's this great protocol, but it's only useful if it's in every tool that you use. So someone's like, well, it's not on Coinbase yet. It's not on Binance yet. It's like, well, the token's on Binance, but the experience isn't there yet. And so it's a matter of just kind of getting those different places to prioritize usability and recognize that I think the companies that focus on user experience will be around in 3 to 5 years. Just like the internet craziness, you have that HTTP protocol gave a usability layer to the internet. And then you have the World Wide Web and the web browser. We're kind of like that for all of crypto. And I think a lot of companies that aren't focusing on that now, they're focusing on kind of that. We have about 3.9% adoption in the world right now. If they focus just on the nerds that are engineers building tools for other engineers, they're going to miss out on the new wave of people that want that user experience. It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's over Thanksgiving where families say, well, do you think it's going to keep going up? I'm like, you got to realize that most people still don't own any crypto. Now, that being said, I mean, I'm surprised that it's at 50,000 or 60,000 or whatever it is right now. I mean, to me, it's insane. I mean, I do think it's going to go higher and everything, but it's still an insane number when you've been around.
It is,
like
but
we have.
I remember. So I bought my first Bitcoin. I spent $50 and I got 2.5 Bitcoin. It was $20 a Bitcoin. And I remember I read an article by Rick Falkvinch, and this is I think it was about $40 a Bitcoin at the time.
Yeah.
And he said the target price of Bitcoin is not $100, or it's not $50 or $100. So the target price is $100,000 to $1 million. And then he started explaining it. He kind of analyzed the entire transaction ecosystem of the world, took a small percentage of that, broke it all down, and said boom, boom, boom. And I'm sitting there going like, this guy's not wrong.
Right.
And it was the same guy that made a bet when he bought Bitcoin at $3. He's like, I'm going to make 1,000% return in 5 to 7 years. And when Bitcoin hit three grand, he's just like, mic drop.
Right.
And he was right.
Yeah.
So just listening to people like that, there's a lot of different opinions in the space, but obviously Michael Saylor's making a big splash with his like constantly buying. I also got to go to El Salvador and Honduras and Panama with Brock Pierce on these like delegations and stuff.
Nice.
So we're seeing what happened firsthand in El Salvador and
It's a revolution.
the follow up with that, where he's like, buy the dip, and Peter Schiff's calling him out. And he's like, but I'm buying more.
It's a revolution.
These things are all happening, and they can't be stopped. You can't put it back in Pandora's box.
No, you can't.
It's open, and now they're doing Bitcoin bonds and Bitcoin City and all that craziness.
Michael Saylor, so I've known Michael Saylor for a long time. We used to do a certain type of party. He used to throw MicroStrategy parties all the time. Not all the time, but, a few times a year. And we used to do a lot of things. My wife was a cheerleader for the Caps and, all very high-end stuff, obviously. It's Michael Saylor. But when he made the move in, and I knew the amount of his friends that were billionaires that were going to come in.
You knew his network.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was over. It's over. I knew that. I was like, wow. And so, and he really single-handedly a couple times is between those bonds that he set up, turned the market around, and it's absolutely amazing. So,
I mean, I've seen so many people explain Bitcoin in the last, like I said, almost 9 years. That just the other day he did an interview with Tucker Carlson or whatever it was, and I was just like, that's one of the best arguments I've ever seen. Like, and he just nails it. And then there's more like him showing up. So
yes.
Like, this is how it actually works. This is why it's important. It's undeniable. It's kind of like the internet. Like, well, who's going to use the internet?
I know.
Send payments over the internet. And now it's like everyone's doing it.
You can't do it. Yeah, you can't. Obviously, you can do it. An hour hardly goes by without using the internet. So, I know you have the media company as well. I think that's a lot of stuff. Maybe you partner with Brock on that, or tell us a little bit more about that.
So I've been here in Puerto Rico for I guess 3 years now, and at one of Brock's parties, I met James Heckman, who's built Maven Media, now called Arena, and he's just got an amazing career doing media and stuff. And I actually met his son George, who was working with Brock's campaign early on. And I didn't even realize they were both related. And George, we're friends on Facebook. And he's like, Dad, you got to read this guy's stuff. And I just think out loud on Facebook, all kinds of philosophy and crypto stuff. And he was, it's fun though. I mean, I'm also doing it on Hive, which is censorship resistant. So I always have a backup if they ever kick me off, right? But the idea was James found me and said, hey, come to BTC Miami. We're going to be interviewing people. We're doing this media company. And here's a whale pass. Here's a media pass. Come back. And I was kind of like, why? I got all this other stuff going on, but all right, I'll show up. And I really got excited about what they're building. And so Roundtable Media is essentially a partnership between James Heckman, Brock Pierce, and David Bailey from BTC Media and Bitcoin Magazine, who put on that 20,000 person conference.
Right.
And the idea is you got three models of media. One is centralized, CEO tells you what's on the news. You've got social media, which is all decentralized chaos with bots and craziness. And then you got the third model, which James kind of pioneered, which is essentially curated experts. So it's like the Hulu or what's the other one with all the TV? Basically, you go to one place where all the great content is. So you're not sitting there going to each individual publisher saying, hey, I'm trying to sell my stuff. You bring a whole bunch of people together, curated experts in the different categories. So they're doing news, politics, activism, crypto, blockchain. And it's kind of all the stuff that, other people don't want to talk about. But we're going to have amazing people having great conversations, essentially.
It's awesome. Yeah, really cool. I know off camera, you were just talking with Jay. They're here together. Brock Pierce has been, a pivotal person in the community for so long. I mean, I've known Brock for a long time. We actually gave him an award of the Washington Elite at the Versace Mansion back right before COVID hit. So that was awesome. I think we're going to do that event again. I don't know if you'll be in Miami for the North American Bitcoin Conference, but we are talking with the Versace right now, the mansion, to put that together again. Always a wonderful time. So, it's you kind of have the whole ecosystem here, I mean, are people coming here all the time? Do you feel like you need to travel, or do you feel like everybody's coming to you?
Oh, that's a great question. I love to travel, and actually my wife as well, and we want to travel with our 3 kids. Like we're going to Stokes Roundtable next year, and this is my 3rd time going. I'm bringing the whole crew, like bringing my kids, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, it is kind of neat here. You know, this is like a vortex, not just because of the tax benefits, but those certainly help. No capital gains, 4% corporate taxes. These are nice, but it's also just incredible, beautiful people. You know, Paradise Island. And you do get this kind of like, once you have that vortex of friends bringing all their friends who bring their friends who bring their friends, you get a point where it just becomes like, why wouldn't you move here?
Right.
And so it is pretty exciting. Every day at every week at Crypto Mondays, or if there's like a Fogo de Chao lunch that, you know, Kyle puts together.
Which I just came from Fogo de Chao. He says, "Oh, tomorrow." I go, "Tomorrow, man. I'm stopped. I just came from there."
There's so many great events. Like there's almost every night of the week you got something going on, and it really is the community that brings people together. And so I think it's like I say on Crypto Mondays, it's almost like a conference every week. You know, you maybe have 100 people in it, but it's not just anybody. It's people that like run protocols or CEOs of projects and things. So I really love being here. I love the ecosystem that we have, but I also love traveling too. But sometimes you get a you get a little burned out. You know, you go to all these different conferences. So it's kind of nice this week to be like, oh, it's coming to me. You know,
everybody's
PR
coming
Blockchain Week, it's coming here.
Right.
It's nice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm traveling a lot. I'm in the shoes, as a lot of us in the space are now. So I don't want to go too long. I know we have some more people we're going to go live with just here in a few minutes. So Luke Stokes, big guy here on the island and in the space. What would you like to share some last thoughts and maybe how people get a hold of you?
Thanks so much. I would just say, again, you're not late. You're super early. And if you think usability is important, please check out FIO Protocol. We'd love to have you. We're at Join FIO on Twitter. If you want to reach out to me, I'm Luke Stokes on Twitter and Hive, and love to hear from you. Thanks so much.
Luke Stokes, thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate
and that's FIO, FIO, protocol.io.
That's correct. Thank you.
See you soon.